sometimes I'll click on his Wikipedia page because I'm like, God, I feel like I just listened to the same 4 songs.
Every 3 months, you're on his Wikipedia page just looking for updates.
Well, then, so I'll go to his Wikipedia page. I'll see, okay, he's written, 6 symphonies this year. He's got 15 new etudes and who knows what else. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to listen to the new Philip Glass symphony. It's called, it's named after like a pharaoh or something. So I'm like, okay, interesting. And maybe it'll be Egyptian sounding.
Akhenaten.
Right.
Cool.
And then you click on it, and it's the same piano song you've been listening to for 15 years already, but it's maybe a little bit more orchestral this time, or a little faster. And that guy, I admire the degree to which he never is like, I got to mix it up.
In that way, maybe he was perhaps ahead of his time. You know what I mean? He found his niche, and sort of like a social media influencer. He was just sort of like, I'm just gonna dig in right here. Yeah. This is where I can make all my money. This is where I can make my name. So he pulled like the Wes Anderson. Yeah. Like, I found my niche. I'm not getting out of this. This is my niche that I'm pigeonholed in for the rest of my life.
Oh, I just came up with, he's like at dinner with somebody. I just came up with a great new tune. Do 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 do. And they're like, that's you've written that 100 times, Philip. He's like, I gotta go write this right now while it's fresh in my head.
I got all the doo-doos in my head right now. I gotta like write them down, get them on paper, so they're not bothering me. The funny thing is, I think Philip Glass and Hans Zimmer and a lot of these big conductor composer types, I think they have like a whole studio team of people working for them, if I'm not mistaken. That
Hans
also
Zimmer
helps them
does
write
for sure.
music.
I don't know for sure about Mr. Glass, so I'm not gonna throw allegations at him.
Okay,
they might all be coming right from his brain, but Hans Zimmer has had he notoriously, I think, since somewhere in the 90s, he's had a company whose name I forget, where there's like a dozen guys, where Hans Zimmer works. He's just like, yeah, we're going to do kind of like Gladiator, but a little more orchestral this time. Do it, Klaus, why don't you work on that? I don't know.
We're going to be doing Pirates of the Caribbean sort of sounding music, but it's for a 16th century Renaissance piece in Italy. So we're kind of adapting it.
This time we are doing Madagascar 3. Let's use the Gladiator template again. They're like, we've been using the Gladiator template for every movie, Hans. Maybe we could do something else. Well, if it fits, it fits. This is why I am the genius composer with the Oscar, and you are Klaus, who sits in the office.
And you're the useless Klaus.
Yeah. You are Klaus the Klutz, which is what I will call you from now on.
Is this Klaus Verbinski or Vorbinski?
It's I don't know all the people he's got. I know it's sometimes one of the guys ended up becoming the composer of all the Transformers movies, and occasionally they get out from the shadow of Hans. But the thing about Hans Zimmer is he is not untalented, even if he's kind of created a lazy empire for himself. So the people, once they get out of the shadow of him, I don't know that they really make great music either.
To be honest, once everybody sort of finds their musical voice, it's really rare that you're going to write something that's really, really weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sort of the exception rather than the rule, because I was listening to some music recently. I was like in a friend's car. I was like, "Oh, this is cool." What the band Muse from like the mid 2010s or like the early 2010s, and it's like, same Muse. Same Muse that used to be a rock band is now like a experimental jazz band. Tom, and I don't hate it. I actually kind of liked it. I was digging it, but kind of a weird pivot.
I know. I was just going to say they must not have bills to pay if they're at that stage.
There's a lot more jazz fans than I thought, making them a lot of money, I guess.
Man, can you imagine? Like, I love rock and roll. We were a hit in 2000, but if we don't pivot to jazz soon, we're gonna have to sell the house, honey.
Yeah. Yeah, babe, that banger that we created in 2011 or 2012 called Madness, we've really been just coasting off the royalty checks of that, at certain Outback steakhouses and wherever else it's still playing. But we do need to start making money again, honey. So that's why me and the boys were doing, we all got matching fedoras.
Yeah.
And we have really cool hats now, and we're going to do jazz. but we're going to do it really well, I guess.
We're opening for Woody Allen's jazz band. Actually, it's really exciting.
Oh, cool.
Wild Man Blues is on, but if you get there 10 minutes early, it's just Muse. Wild Man Muse, followed by Wild Man Blues.
Wild Man Muse, Wild Man Blues. Too bad the Wild Man himself couldn't make an appearance. We all know who I'm talking about there, of course.
This performance tonight goes out to a very special friend. He couldn't make it, but he's here in spirit.
He goes to a special friend of mine who's no longer with us on this earth, who may or may not have, done himself in a federal correction facility. Well, we just a moment of silence for all those who died in jail cells across America. And you're just like, Woody, that's very specific.
Yeah, this saxophone solo is in memory of Jay.
Yeah, my dear friend Jay. I'm like, wait, Jay.
Yes. Great. Sun Yi's just got her hand in her head. She's like, oh my, like she's just like just hiding, trying to get out of there. She's like, Woody, somehow I'm more embarrassed now than I have been my entire life spent with you.
Sun Yi is just hanging out with Cheryl Hines. They're both sort of learning how to deal with public humiliation together. They're like, listen, we both have kind of crazy significant others. We got to figure out a way to not get embarrassed when they do very clearly stupid shit in public.
They're pitching a new show to TLC. It's going to be about Sun Yi, Cheryl Hines, and Hilaria Baldwin.
And their wacky husbands.
Yeah, right.
How they keep them on a leash. How do you rein it in, folks? How do you rein in somebody like Alec Baldwin? Hilaria? I mean, Hilaria.
Yeah. It's good ideas. These guys, they got to keep working, So we'll see. Woody's, I think he possibly has a new movie coming out. There was a funny report. Let me pull it up actually, because I don't know. I'm not sure who's desperate for the Woody Allen report exactly here, but I see the news.
Speaking of people that make the same thing every single time nowadays.
Yeah, he got a grant to make a movie in Spain, I think, to make another one in Spain after Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which was, I don't know how many years ago now. But he basically, the studios in America don't really want to touch him, but he is still a person who can draw something of a crowd. So long as he keeps the budget low, there are various European backers who are still giving him money. So the last one he made was Coup de Chance, a French film in French, which was kind of just Match Point, but in France this time. But whatever. He's not stressing about it, like Philip Glass. So he has a new one that was set to start filming this October. And there's a report, according to the publication World of Real, that he got a grant from Madrid to make this. But let's see, quote, financiers of his Spain set film are struggling to get any confirmation about the project's status or even basic communication from the production company. So they're like, Woody, are we making this thing or not? I think we wired the money over to your company. And he's like, I got to practice for Wild Man Blues on Sunday. I'll get back to them in a few weeks.
Yeah, I've been deep in a clarinet session for the past 4 months, so I haven't had time to think of the project. But when it comes back to me, I'll certainly use the money for that.
Yeah, I'm really slaving over the script. Tell them that. And they're like, we don't believe you, Woody. We've seen your last 40 movies.
Yeah, Woody, we've seen all your movies. We know that's never been a consideration.
We know maybe in that stretch from 1974 to 1981, you were really trying. And then after that, it's been coasting.
Yeah, and even then, you were trying, but, maybe not hitting the mark, maybe getting close. But, it's sort of like, you're a filmmaker, Woody. You're maybe not a screenplay writer, even though you can do both. And that's great. But where's our movie? But actually, though, they're Spanish. So they'd be like, where is our movie, Mr. Allen? Senor Allen. Where is our movie?
I'm going to finish the Duolingo Spanish course so I can write it in Spanish first. I'm working on it.
I can't understand you. But I am speaking in English. You will not understand me in my Barcelona Spaniard accent.
Yeah. Woody, this was not a problem when you made Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which was a third of it in Spanish.
Which was in Barcelona, as I recall.
Yeah. It was funny. He's one of those guys who, plenty of very reasonable people. I guess I judge zero people who are like, this guy's clearly a creep and I want nothing to do with him. But also, he does have funny comedic timing. And so there was an interview he gave about Vicky Cristina Barcelona where there's long stretches of that movie, as I recall, where it's Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz yelling at each other in Spanish. And they were asking Woody, how did you know if they were sticking to your script or not? And he was like, I no idea. It looked good to me. So I said, cut. And we went with it.
As somebody who's eaten tacos maybe twice in my life, I'm not really familiar with Spanish. And so I had no idea. And I just trusted the process.
Yeah, I actually wasn't even on set. I was playing Wild Man Blues at a local bar in Barcelona.
Barcelona nightclub that a friend of mine named Jay and I used to hang out at a lot. And then we'd go over to Paris and hang out at Jay's house.
Oh, man. Well,
he did not come out of that looking good at all, man. I got to say. It's incredible. Like, everybody already sort of assumed that he was a creep, which is kind of funny. But then it's sort of like after this, it's like even worse. It's just like, man, I didn't know how it could get worse for him. But it's funny because worse doesn't even mean like he's like not going to die in obscurity. Worse just means he has to like make films in Spain now instead of Los Angeles, which I guess
of exiles go. As far as exiles go, that's pretty good. I mean,
yeah, the Roman Polanski method.
Yeah,
there's no repercussions actually.
Is Polanski,
you can't make your movie?
Is he still making movies? Polanski? I can't remember.
I think he made one a couple of years ago, but Adrian Brody loved it.
Oh yeah,
that's what I heard.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah,
Adrian
couldn't
Brody
get enough.
He made so he won the Oscar for The Brutalist, and he maybe has signed on now, but in a year or two after The Brutalist, he was making this big fuss about how he's like, I'm not signing on to anything until it's the perfect thing. I'm not just going to do something to do something. I won the Oscar, my second Oscar. I'm going to do something amazing next. And then
opus.
He's on like a car insurance commercial I see the other day. I'm like, oh, Adrian, yeah, you're really keeping the integrity there of Mr. I'm not working until it's going to be art.
Yeah. I'm not going to do a single thing until I feel like my artistic curiosities are satisfied. And then he's doing one of those Sixt car rental commercials that have like that you're just like, I don't know who came up with these commercials, but for our international listeners, we have these commercials ongoing in the United States right now from a car commercial company called Sixt, and they are what I can only assume as written by somebody on crystal methamphetamines. So yeah,
I'm not going to do anything until it's the perfect project. The perfect project happened to be a CarMax commercial. Really well done. Yeah. A genius wrote this and directed it.
He's like trying to do like weird like loops to justify this. He's like, well, if you think about it, cars are kind of like little works of art in and of themselves. And then me trying to help people rent them is sort of like an artistic, and people are like, no, we don't really follow you. And he's like, no, but trust me, if you walk through my logic here, it is artistic. It's just also shamelessly capitalistic at the same time.
Did you watch the Oscars when he won that second award?
I saw some little clip online where he like threw his chewing gum or something to some lady, and
yeah,
I don't know, that was kind of like,
and then he talked,
like kind of weird.
He talked for a long time. They started playing him off after the 60 seconds or 45 seconds, whatever it is, and he made this big fuss about like, I'm going to keep talking. I won the awards, my second Academy Award. You're not going to play me off the stage. I'm going to get to my message. And he built it up so much. He kept talking essentially about we need to be brave. We need to be strong. We need to not give up. We need to be able to say what we want to say. Like that kind of stuff where you're like, okay, he must be building to a powerful message. Talked for, I swear, 5 minutes. And then it just kind of ended. It was just sort of like, we got to be ourselves. We got to do what we need to do. Thank you, everybody. Then he finally.
We got to get out there and we got to live.
Yeah.
Thanks. And you're like, oh, that's flat.
Yeah. Adrian, did you plan that, or did you just sort of think you'd come up with a great ending and you didn't quite get there? You realized after 5 minutes of sort of great momentum, you didn't have a punchline.
Well, he's an actor. He's not,
He's not a writer.
The brain. Yeah, he didn't have a writer for the. He understood the assignment. He's like, I got to inspire, but he didn't have the script. So
Well,
he's an actor.
Let me suggest to him, if you think you might win, you can have someone write your script. You don't have to come up with it off the top of your head.
That's very true. Perhaps, Tom, it was a sign of humility. He didn't even think he was going to win and didn't even feel like he needed to write a speech.
Yeah. We have to be strong
So cool.
in the face of conflicts that we might encounter and might then overcome. The problems are things that we can stop if we try.
Ladies and gentlemen, the award for the Oscar goes to Adrian Brody. Shows up on stage. Thank you. I just wanted to remind everybody, I was not in an SNL sketch where I pretended to be a Rastafarian with dreadlocks on, and it aged very badly as of about 5 years ago. Thank you very much. Just walks off stage. I was not in a sketch on SNL that banned me from SNL because it was considered so bad on SNL that Lorne Michaels said he wanted nothing to do with me ever again.
Yeah, you know how bad
that did not happen to me.
Do you know how bad you have to be for Lorne Michaels to say no more? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. And it was the funniest thing was apparently I've rewatched this the other day because it just showed up on one of my social media feeds. And I was like, this is AI. And then I looked it up. It's not AI. It's very much real.
That's what he spends his whole Oscar speech being like. That SNL episode was an early prototype of AI. I was horrified at the time. I'm horrified now. I think we need to scrub it from the internet.
I think we all need to come together and be united under the assumption that I didn't do anything bad. That's just AI, and I didn't go on SNL before AI was a thing and make myself look like a fool. Okay, that's not something I would do. I just wanted to thank Roman Polanski and God, and have a good night. Thanks, everybody.
And Jay,
Roman Polanski, Woody Allen, and God. Thank you very much, folks. Have a good night.
JWR.
Also, we need to stand up. We need to stand up to people that are abusing and not letting us be our true selves. But then we should definitely hang out with people that are like rapists.
Yeah.
This is where Hollywood and a lot of people kind of lose me. And I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be over here in my ivory tower. But I don't know. Next time I see somebody like Adrian Brody tell me I need to take something seriously, maybe I won't.
Well, I think fundamentally, if you want to be a moral authority in the world, you should act ethically, which extends whether that's actors or religious institutions or anyone. First of all, maybe people should not look to celebrities for moral authority. But I think where there's a central maybe way to get around it would be to say, if you believe in just the art and the craft and you're trying to make powerful works and you're sort of acknowledging that there's a messy space where people who are talented are often complicated and often in ways that don't make them great people, and that's its own space, your comfort level of trying to engage with, consume, pay for works made by unethical people, I don't know, that's a personal decision. You can sort of go that direction, but you can't be the person who's like, I know how you need to act and I know what you need to care about, and also I'm working with Roman Polanski.
Yeah, it just rings a bit hollow, you know what I mean? And then to also sort of like be like, no, you're not playing me off. I'm here to make a point. And then to not have an actual point to make is hilarious. Kind of funny.
It's so funny.
It's like, man, the lack of self-awareness from an actor is just really funny sometimes.
I agree. Yeah. Okay. Something that has maybe united the world, except for me a little bit, but I'll save my personal opinion for later. But the Odyssey has finally come out. Christopher Nolan's new adaptation of the Homer epic, the myth, the foundational myth of Western culture, people are calling it. And funniest thing was the discourse was so obsessed with the fact that Lupita Nyong'o was playing Helen of Troy and that she is of African descent, which Matt Walsh and Elon Musk have been crying about for months. They're so sad about this. And that Elliot Page is in it, who is a trans actor. And so basically the right decided this is a wokeification, a woke takeover, almost like you might say the Agamemnon that is Christopher Nolan has taken over the culture, has taken over Western civilization with his woke ideas. He's invaded the Troy that was our nice right-wing world and left it in ruins. And then they started to see the movie, and a bunch of Republicans the right-wing Republican talkers, at least, are having to acknowledge the fact that the whole movie is kind of this plea for people to have integrity, to treat others with dignity. That essentially the world doesn't work if we can't be around each other and we can't have some basic hospitality and dignity. And they're sort of like, wow, okay, that actually was not very radical at all. You might even say that sort of, you could boil that down to Christian ideas like treat others how you want to be treated. And they're having this kind of post-crisis now where they're like, but it's woke, but also it's kind of like the stuff that I pretend to believe in, and I'm not sure what to do with it. And the funniest thing is, I didn't realize until this came out, apparently Ben Shapiro is the biggest Christopher Nolan fanboy of all time. Did you know this?
I did only as recently as you, and I think it's very funny to be like, I have a ton of issues with this movie on a personal woke note, but on a personal, I'm a fan of Christopher Nolan. This movie's a masterpiece.
Yes.
It's very funny seeing like, I hate this movie because I'm supposed to hate it, but also what a really good movie. I recommend to go see it.
And apparently, if you go down that rabbit hole, over the years, he consistently has sort of been like, Dark Knight is the best film ever made. Tenet is amazing. It's so freaking amazing. Oh my God. Dunkirk. Oh, wow. Don't get me started. If I get started talking about Dunkirk, I'll never stop. So it would have been really hard for him to dislike this, is my takeaway. I think that in his mind, Christopher Nolan potentially could not make a bad movie.
Yeah, it is really funny. And then you get reminded that people like Ben Shapiro are just like industry dropouts that sucked at their craft, and then they had to turn right wing.
Yeah. Right.
Just like any like burnout of any industry, you just turn right wing, and somehow you can find an audience of equally desperate, sort of like loser middle-aged men that'll give you some money.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a grift that works. I get it. If you.
Yeah,
he's a very
financially lucrative.
He's a wealthy man. So if integrity of the message is not important and it's just purely I want to be a guy who gets paid to talk into a microphone and makes a lot of money, I mean, I get it. I get how you got there.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a guy who wants to make money either. It's just kind of funny when you're like, I hate the wokes, I hate the film industry, I hate everything as it is, but also through some miracle, even though things are falling apart and collapsing in real time, and we're supposed to hate everything that mainstream culture is forcing us to like. At the same time, I really love this movie. Thought it was really good, very Christian, very funny. There's a couple of things that I didn't like, but I could easily overlook them. And it's sort of like, wow, that's really funny.
It's funny too.
What a 180.
A couple of things I didn't like, which those couple of things are categories of people that I'm not allowed to like. But otherwise, I appreciated the message of of trying to save a culture of kindness and hospitality in this film, except for the two people that I can't like because of what they are.
Yeah, and I refuse to be hospitable too, of course. It's so silly, dude. I just don't get it. The thing is, this movie was poorly cast in the first place. It was never like something where I was like, wow, this is really good, you know?
Like you mean even down to Matt Damon and
even down to Matt Damon. I was just like, what is this going to be? Mars in Greece in you know what I mean?
Like the Martian.
It's just
like
going to be he's
trying to get home again.
Yeah.
He's always trying to get home.
Yeah, he's just always trying to get home. He's just a guy. I guess in that sense, it was a perfect casting choice. But I don't know. I still haven't seen the movie yet, so I'll reserve my full judgment until after it's over. But my God, it's just this movie's been talked about so much. I don't really even know what I'm supposed to think anymore.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I did see it, and okay. Question for you.
Thoughts?
How comprehensive do you want my reaction to be? Do you want to wait until you've seen it, or can we acknowledge that this is one of the oldest stories, and that it pretty much tells the story with a couple deviations, but generally it's still the Odyssey.
Yeah. Well, Tom, if you can give it to me with no spoilers, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
No, it's okay. You can spill all of it. My wife is not going to see this movie, and I'm going to watch it alone by myself. So it's
okay.
It makes no bearing.
I'm gonna watch this alone by myself at night in the bathroom on my phone.
In the bathroom, crying in the shower. I don't get to watch my manosphere movies with my wife. No,
she's like, turn it down. You're like, they're in my AirPods. I'm not even playing it on my phone volume.
She's like, I can hear you breathing loudly during those action sequences. I'm like, oh my gosh.
She gets
No, I don't.
health alerts in her app. It's like, oh, his heart rate, he's getting a little too into the movie. She's like, you need to take a break, Will. You need to calm down. Go for a walk.
She's like, I brought you a couple magnesium supplements and a cold glass of water. Why don't you drink that whole thing?
Yeah.
Take those.
Pause the movie.
Calm me down.
Watch the rest tomorrow.
Yeah. Why don't you take a little meditation break, Will? It looks like your heart rate's really up. I know this is only halfway through the movie, but there's always tomorrow. Bud. No, anyways. I tried to watch the Ralph Fiennes Odyssey that came out like 2 years ago, where I was confused because I was like, oh, this wasn't the Nolan one? Like, I was so confused. I was like, for literally like a month, I was like, wait, you're telling me the Odyssey's coming out in a year, but I already fucking saw it? Like, I don't know. It was a weird time in my life, I guess. Confusing month. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I saw it and my wife was like, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah. I watched about an hour of that. Yeah. It was on Showtime or something. And I had to go to dinner. And it was one of those ones where I'm like, this is fine. But, like in my app, when I'm watching something and I have something I have to go do, I can click, record the rest of this. I'll watch it later. And so I thought about it and I'm like an hour in and thought, that's fine. I don't know if I need to watch the second hour of this. It's all right. I'm proud of Ralph Fiennes because he's looking great, but that's my big takeaway.
Yeah, that was literally the only thing in the movie that I took away too. I was like, wow, good for him. When I'm 62, maybe I'll look like that through some miracle of science. Probably not though. Yeah. But yeah, it was a whatever movie. I guess I was sort of maybe projecting a bit of that movie onto this upcoming Nolan one. But is it a rip roaring ride, Tom, or is it just sort of like, it's like a Nolan dialogue heavy type of movie?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head there. My God, this is it's
great. Fun. So, he writes for women very well. He's known to do that. So I find it to be very. Yeah. This is going to be good then.
When the one woman talks for 5 minutes in the flashback, when the guy is remembering her before she died, beautiful writing for that woman.
Yeah, his own personal Bechdel test that he passed with flying colors.
Okay, so let me backtrack and talk about unlike Ben Shapiro. I don't think Christopher Nolan is an untalented guy. I don't think he's a bad filmmaker. I think he's made a few great movies, but I don't find that everything he puts out there is a home run. I think in particular, Agreed. His early stuff, his lower budget stuff, I tend to think it works better. I think he's one of those guys who's become too big to fail and kind of nobody's reining him in. And like with most artists, when you are up against some confines, you come up with more creative solutions than with the blank check. So like Memento, low budget. He made one basically no budget movie before that, but Memento, fantastic movie. I like Insomnia. The Batman ones are pretty good. Yeah. Again, I think they're about as good as a Batman movie will get.
They're the best that Batman will ever be, and we've accepted that as a society, and we don't need to talk about that any further.
Okay, yes. My favorite of his movies is The Prestige. I think it's kind of like the skeleton key to his approach to art. I think the fact that you get these two magicians, one is sort of obsessed with making the most complicated, most sort of like there's so much integrity and complication that the audience won't even understand it, but I'll be so proud of myself as one guy. And then you've got Hugh Jackman, who's sort of like, no, we do it for the look on their faces. If they don't understand it, if they're not awed, there's no point in doing it at all. And that is the dialectic of Christopher Nolan, I think. And it's not politics like a lot of people want to pretend.
It sounds like then Christopher Nolan basically just is a guy that likes to tell a good story on screen as best he can. He likes when people laugh at his movies and they leave the movie theater going, "Wow, that was a great way to spend 2.5 hours."
Yeah,
that's basically it. Okay, so he's not. Yeah,
everybody's projecting a lot of politics onto him. I'm not saying he's apolitical exactly. Yeah. Like you could even say the fact that he doesn't arbitrarily hate Elliot Page, for example, and he would recast this person who he worked with before. Maybe that's a political statement. Maybe it's also just a guy who's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just a person who seems to fit the role to me, and I'm not thinking too much beyond that. But the idea that he either was extremely woke or is extremely conservative kind of feels like we're putting more into him than he's trying. Like, I don't think he is making comments on the world he's living in to some extent, but I guess I don't see him as an ideology guy in any meaningful or interesting way. Arguably, instead, something like the Dark Knight movies, there's a lot of conflicting ideologies, and I think they're picked as kind of buzzwords that would get people to be provoked in certain ways. But beyond that, I don't know. I guess Oppenheimer, like, is that political or is that just sort of?
I didn't even see that one. I mean, the bomb goes off at the end, and they're like, "Wow, we did it."
The bomb goes off. That's in the middle, and then he gets accused of being he is sympathetic toward communist Americans.
A damn commie.
Yes.
Oh, he's a damn commie.
The movie doesn't even really it portrays that as a fact, and then that becomes part of this guy's public downfall. But it doesn't really talk about communism in any meaningful way. I mean, so it's like if you're someone who doesn't have much media literacy, I guess your perception of that might be, if main character is communist sympathetic, then the movie is endorsing Karl Marx. Well, I don't really see that in practice. Okay, but long way of saying, okay, first half of his career, I think generally very good movies. And then The Dark Knight was such a big hit that he has been working with bigger and bigger canvases, and not necessarily to bad ends. I think some of the later ones are good, but as you said perfectly, he has gotten so obsessed with nonstop expositional dialogue that all his movies now are basically 2 hours of characters discussing the plot and the ideas and the themes in really awkward and clunky ways, and then about an hour that tells the real story. And I'm a little sick of that, and The Odyssey might be his worst example of that yet.
Really? Oh, man. Because I saw Tenet a couple years ago, and I was like, if I had to remake Inception and make it more boring and put like more dialogue scenes in it, I would just make Tenet.
Yeah.
If I wanted to rip off Inception but make it more boring just by people being like, well, I'm going to tell you what I'll do. And then there's like 10 minutes of two guys being like, well, here's what you're going to do next. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But like, it just seemed to me like, I don't know, it seemed that there was some sort of stuntedness that happened after Inception where it was like, I guess Christopher Nolan was like, listen, I've done too much action and now I got to like rein it back. And I don't know, for me, it's just like, dude, I wanted to go see a $300 million stupid, cool blowout of action. That's what the Odyssey is.
Yeah. Right.
That's what the story is. It's a nonstop action, and if the whole thing is just people talking about, things that are convenient for the plot to move forward, then that seems like, is he really that Hugh Jackman, the magician character anymore? Or is he just kind of, well, I mean, I guess he is to people like Ben Shapiro that see him as, like a magical man.
Don't you see, we do this for the talent. We do this for the look on Ben Shapiro's face. Hugh Jackman says as he's dying at the end of The Prestige. It's all for Ben. Yeah. Little Ben Shapiro needs to be awed.
Yeah, little Benny boy needed that little smile on his face. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that it's funny to me as I get older, thinking about the amount of people throughout history that have been sort of like elevated to this like super genius level when maybe they were just sort of like vaguely in the public awareness, and then people assigned all these things to them, a bit like Christopher Nolan, where it's like he's just a good director for the most part. Doing a pretty good job making movies that are a bit derivative of himself at this point, but people are like so into this guy and he's so popular that they're like, oh, did you know he's secretly a liberal pretending to be a conservative, pretending to shoehorn in liberal messages to our mainstream movie? It's like people are projecting all these sorts of insane things onto him. And also too, you get the opposite of that, which is like people like Ben Shapiro, they're like, he is a master at this craft. And it's like, yeah, I guess if you want to watch dialogue heavy action movies, Ben,
it's not even good dialogue. That's my big complaint. I don't mind a talky movie, but it's just people. It's what he writes now. Like when you do a draft of something complicated, you overwrite it a little bit because when you're writing, you're trying to figure out what it is. And so, okay, characters end up talking about the themes because you as the writer are trying to figure out, okay, why is this scene in here? What's this character doing? What's the function of that? And instead of doing a second draft where he polishes, takes that stuff out, and just trusts the fact that his camera can convey the information, which it can. He is a good visual director. Instead of that, he leaves all of that in. And it's just so much clunky dialogue that has no rhythm. And that's just become his style now, and he's more popular than ever. So we are out of step with the world at this point because everyone's like, oh, he's at the peak of his craft, and I'm like, I don't know, he's getting more ambitious in some ways, but almost like more scared to even trust his scripts and his ideas.
Is it because his dialogue maybe doesn't make a whole lot of sense that people think it's more intelligent because they're like, well, I didn't get it, so it must be like whoosh, you know, it must be like genius level writing. Like people maybe like you're saying, or maybe not as media literate, who have not like sat down to try and write a movie themselves, who aren't like, yeah, if I wrote this, I would cut out all this dialogue and just like show the action and then move the plot forward. Like, I guess most people don't really think of it that way. So do you think like maybe because some of the dialogue is so clunky that people are just assuming like, well, it's Christopher Nolan, he must be a genius. Like, do you think it's he gets the benefit of the doubt because it's like, it doesn't make sense, but it must be like in a good way.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just
bummer
because we've written screenplays and had to edit screenplays. We look at it differently. I buy that, but I mean, God, the Odyssey, so much of it is this. He's got like the same template for every conversation. So every conversation is 10 minutes long, and it starts with really weirdly, everybody has to define who everybody is. So they mention a person, and you've got this like soap opera level. Every person I reference my relationship to them. So it's like, yes, King Agamemnon of the, he's out there of the army over there. He's leading the army, and he's also married to my twin sister Clytemnestra. And you're like, okay, you wouldn't explain all of that to one person in a sentence.
Yeah. It's because I think if I can interject really quick, my personal thing is I'll bet Nolan was like, most people who see this are going to be a fucking idiot, and I got to keep it like very straightforward because they're going to be like, Aga, what? Who's this guy again? These names aren't like familiar names of English origin, you know.
Let me present a solution.
He's trying to dumb it down a bit.
Give me
perhaps
a shot of Agamemnon with this person, or leading the army, or being king, and I get the idea. I don't need to know all. I don't need the encyclopedia article.
Yeah, if only he did more cutaways. Maybe that's his flaw. He just needs more cool action cutaways where people are talking and then they can just cut away to something.
He does that, but then he has them talking about it. It's like he does the cutaway, which gives you the information, and then also now here's 3 minutes explaining that cutaway when the cutaway did the job just fine.
Man, that's got to feel really like a huge waste of time. How long is this movie? Like 2.5 hours?
It's about 2 hours and 50 minutes.
What? Okay, so then it could have been an hour and a half easily and actually been good.
That's exactly my takeaway. Yeah, if it was not everybody. Okay, so yeah, the template I was saying, if instead you sort of just let the emotion of the characters guide things, because it's not ultimately that complicated of a story. It's the Odyssey. Idiots have been understanding it for thousands of years, literally.
True.
So, okay, you present the idea, you let the emotion that are these very recognizable emotions guide the scenes. Okay, what are those emotions? Odysseus has been taken away from his family. He figured out how to win the Trojan War in a way that was really brutal and difficult. He is smart. He's charismatic. He also has sort of this guilt about the fact that he led to all that carnage, but in doing so, that let him get back to his home. He wants to get home. He's got a lot of baggage now. His wife is in a difficult situation because nobody knows if he's alive or not. And so they want the throne for themselves. And his son doesn't even really know his dad, but wants to believe his dad is still out there. Okay, that's the core of the movie. None of that's all that complex, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
So how much do I really need to know? Okay, some side characters, I need to know some of the gist of what they're doing. But for some reason, the first 45 minutes in particular is you got little Tom Holland, who I don't think I maybe saw a Marvel movie he was in once, but he was also 10 years younger. I didn't realize that he still talks like he's a 5-year-old. Have you seen Tom Holland in anything?
Yeah, he very boyish still. It's kind of funny. I think he's like 33. But whenever he's in interviews with Zendaya, he's like, "Hey Zendaya, I like how your hair."
Do you think my dad's going to come back? And so basically every scene in the first 45 minutes, he's asking essentially like, I think my dad's still out there. Do you think he's out there? And then Anne Hathaway or John Leguizamo or whoever will respond with a really long explanation of 15 things about Greek culture, about the history of the Trojan War, and about the implications this has for notions of hospitality, and then political implications. And then I can't tell if he's supposed to just be a dumbass or not, but basically they'll read a whole Wikipedia article to him, and then he'll be like, so do you think my dad is dead? That's the first 50 minutes of the movie.
God. Yeah, I could see that after maybe the third time getting old, maybe after about 20 minutes.
And then Matt Damon he's doing his best. He's really trying. Total physical transformation, acting a lot with his eyes. But my God, all he does the whole movie is just do these world weary, really long explanations of the Bronze Age. Our Bronze Age is ending. We broke Zeus's law, but if we break Zeus's law, then all is lost, and we must have a culture. Literally. Oh, go ahead.
I saw an article that described. Sorry to interject. I saw an article that described his character as an everyman. Doesn't sound very everyman to me.
No, I don't think Odysseus has ever been an everyman, right? He's always been the genius, nice guy. Sometimes nice guys able to talk his way out of anything and also win a war if he needs to. That's not really everyman.
That's insane. What a stupid article then. I guess what a bad write up, because it was saying like, oh, you know, Matt Damon's character, he's obviously Odysseus, but he plays it like an everyman, and everybody can relate to this character in every way. And I guess doesn't really sound very accurate. Now that I'm hearing you,
funniest part is at the end. To give a little spoilers, he defeats the suitors and he goes back to Penelope again at the very end. And he's got like 3 spears in him and 15 arrows in his back, and he's hobbled and he's walking over. She embraces him, and in the poem, I believe, she sort of like cleans him up a little bit. They have sex, they reunite, and he's home. And I think that's it. But instead, he's hobbling over to her. He's huffing and puffing. It's like, it looks like he might die. And then he launches into yet another monologue where he's like, we cannot break Zeus's law anymore. It is time that we hand the keys of the kingdom over to the son of the youth of tomorrow so that they can have a better world, unlike the one that we built. And it goes on for another like 4 minutes from there. And you're like, come on, do we need another? We don't need more dialogue. Can we just have the nice moment of them together again? And then he invents a new ending that's kind of like basically the ending of Interstellar, but on a ship. And it's just kind of, I don't know. I thought looks good. The IMAX stuff, the scale, the scope of the locations, a lot of great people in the cast, but just kind of an exhausting watch.
Man, that's really disappointing, because for months it was nothing but hype and, you know, oh, there's no historical accuracy in the costuming and stuff, but it's Nolan, you know, trust the process. It's Nolan, so it might still end up looking pretty cool, you know? So I was, I guess, in that boat where I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's not going to be a historically accurate period piece film, but then again, that was not really his thing. You know, Nolan's a good storyteller, but man, it kind of sounds like he's I don't know, self-sabotaging in a way where it's like he's maybe doesn't have confidence in his abilities as a director to like visually show you things, and so he feels like he needs to do both,
right? Like
have the characters tell you and to visually do it. And it's like, you know, maybe for like most like idiot people that don't go to the movies, that would work, you know. I'm not singling out Ben Shapiro. I'm just saying like most idiot people that like this movie would probably be like, yeah, that was great because I understood all of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people that like to watch dialogue heavy movies or like good movies that still have a ton of dialogue, they might not get that from this. And I don't know, maybe he didn't factor that in, I guess.
Well, just
or maybe he just didn't.
All the dialogue is doing is explaining thematically what he's trying to accomplish with this movie. That we cannot have a culture that's focused purely on victory, that winning at any cost is a bad way to live, that we have to, you know, ground ourselves in some kind of compassion. That's all fine and good. I don't disagree with any of that, but I don't want to watch 3 hours of people making that case, as opposed to let the emotion of the characters be the guiding light. Like Odysseus, I feel like what should be guiding him is that he wants to get back to his wife and his kid and his home, not that he has these abstract meta concerns about civilizational decay, which you can put that in there. Movie can be about that and convey all of that, but he could still ultimately just want to be with his family. But the fact that he gets back to the family and he's got one more monologue to give instead of just embracing his wife, it made me laugh.
It does also undercut like his motive as a character too, because it's like, so he basically just wanted to get back to his wife to like mansplain to her the end of the Bronze Age and like how civilizational collapse is imminent.
Penelope, like, my symbol of civilizational transition. I'm so happy to be back to you.
Yeah, Penelope's like, wow, it's like you never left, and honestly should have stayed away. You killed all my suitors. You come back here and then you lecture me. I'm starting to feel like Odysseus is a bit of a jerk.
Yeah. So I'm way in the minority here. Everybody in the whole world seems to be totally blown away by this thing, and I went in hoping to like it. I had nothing against it. Certainly not the Ben Shapiro sort of. I didn't go in feeling like I have to dislike it, but I thought it was kind of a slog. And it's if you have. It sounds like we have similar reactions to the last 15 years of Nolan movies. It fits into that pretty well.
Dang, that's a crying shame, but not super surprising, I suppose. How much was this movie again?
How much did it cost?
Yeah,
$250 million, I think.
250 mil. I know they already made their money back, but man, I don't know. Were there? Okay, so you said that there were some cutaways, and then you said that there was like some big sweeping stuff. So like visually, was it cool? I guess if like the rest of the movie was. Yeah, very boring.
It looks nice.
Did he do any?
I mean,
okay.
It looks nice, but it's just not any fun because Odysseus is he's got the weight of the world. He's so brooding about the fact that Zeus's law was broken and that civilization was falling apart. And I kind of want to have fun with the Cyclops and with the monsters and the witches and all of that. And it's like Nolan's like, no, you should feel bad because you're part of things are not good today, and that's your fault. Don't forget it just because there's a monster on the screen.
He's like he's shifted now from the Hugh Jackman character that's like, I want to dazzle them so when they leave the theater they go, wow, I just came from a Nolan movie and the world is a better place. Now he's like, I want you to leave the movie theater thinking, how can I make the world a better place? This is my individual responsibility to fix things because I saw Christopher Nolan's Odysseus movie. I don't know, like I guess if this is a big if, and benefit of the doubt here to Mr. Christopher Nolan, in case he's listening. If you are, sir,
big fan of the show, Chris.
Huge. If you're a huge fan of the show, let me just say, don't listen to the first 40 minutes of our show. Just start listening right here, sir. But no, I'm just what I would think and hope for Christopher Nolan is that he maybe understood that this Odysseus stuff was a bit manosphere coded. And maybe he was hoping to teach some of these guys a bit of empathy. And then maybe, I guess, in a sense, it worked because people like Ben Shapiro came out of that movie thinking like, wow, what if I could just treat people around me like fellow human beings? And you're just like, yeah, that's really cool, Ben. I mean, your religion teaches you that you should do that. So I'm not sure why you're not already in that sort of framework mentally. But I don't know. Like, I guess if you think of it from that perspective, it's a bit of a good thing. Maybe he's helping people like Ben Shapiro gain a very useful skill like empathy.
That's hilarious. Explain it to me. Explain morality to me in Spartan. And he's like, okay, I think I can do this. I can figure out how to get to these thick skulls.
Yeah. Oh, I can probably make a movie for imbeciles related to an old Greek tragedy. I could probably do it. If anyone, I could do it. I'm Christopher Nolan. God damn it.
I've made Batman
Dark Knight
gritty.
It's always Batman. It's anytime anyone's talking about Christopher Nolan, it's always just like he's the guy that made Batman. I'm Christopher Nolan. I made masterpieces such as The Dark Knight Rises and others. I don't know.
I need to get to these Bane these people. They've turned into Bane, and I need to drag them back to being like Alfred the Butler, or at least like the young Bruce Wayne looking for a moral core. And I think a gritty warrior can teach them the lessons that a politician cannot.
A warrior or perhaps a director like me, Christopher Nolan, who can give them what they really need, swift kick in the arse, sort of like a reality check for morals. I think maybe I could take a story that's very old and complicated, and if I water it down and make it so easy like a monkey could understand, maybe somewhere somebody out there will be able to have some compassion for another human being, and maybe things will get a little bit better.
God, you've sold me on it. If that's what he intended to do, and if tomorrow the Daily Wire is not just extremely hateful and maybe tries to be like productive, you could be productively conservative in this world. You can resist certain changes without saying that certain people don't deserve humanity and all of that stuff. And if it took a boring Odyssey movie for them to get there, then bravo, Mr. Nolan. Honestly.
Yeah, another masterpiece. Maybe not. I'm not the target audience for this one, but good job nonetheless. I think there's probably something to that because I saw the Ben Shapiro post too, where he was praising the Christopher Nolan, and he said probably the kindest thing anyone could have ever said in his position about Elliot Page, that it was a quote pebble in his shoe, but easily overlooked. And I was like, wow, that's probably the nicest thing he's ever said about any trans people ever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's still not even. It's still not even like appropriate. It's still insulting, but it's like, you know what? That was almost kindness coded insulting, well, Ben. And
you can say you, the way this person lives their life annoys me, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's more of the like this disgusting evil monster is destroying our world sort of approach. So if Odysseus's kindness, his message of kindness, has achieved that, that is a good thing. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe Nolan is trying to convert a different sort of person to the causes that he believes in, which would be kind of maybe that is a political project at the end of the day. Does that make him a political filmmaker?
Maybe unintentionally he is a political filmmaker because idiots have assigned so much weight to his work that now it carries the full weight that people thought that it had. So inadvertently people gave him all this power, and he was like, maybe at the end of the day I can sort of turn that into a good thing. I don't know. I'm just trying to hope the best for Nolan because I'm not going to go see this movie, but I'm hoping that somebody out there somewhere saw it and maybe wrote a post about how cool a movie it was, and maybe it changed something in them. That's what this movie is for.
He's like the ghost of Christmas Past. He's got to change the Ebenezer Scrooges out there, and he's like, I'm the ghost of conservative past, and I'd like to. Why don't we go to the movies and watch a new Odyssey adaptation, Mr. Scrooge?
Yeah, Mr. Scrooge, we're going to the films. We're going to see the Odyssey. I'm going to teach you that trans people are perfectly fine, and a Black Helen of Troy is totally fine as well, and we don't really need to worry about it because it's a stupid movie about a fake story in the first place. So we don't need to worry about any of this. Yeah, I'll tell you what, maybe I wasn't the target audience for that movie, but what I was the target audience for was another movie I saw recently, Backroom. Sorry, not Backrooms. Obsession.
Okay, we might have to save this because we have our guest is going to get here in a second. So why don't we table that for now? Next week we'll talk about
teaser.
Yeah,
next week we'll review some other movies, folks. We won't get so into the weeds on the Odyssey and yeah, if you're still listening, folks, we certainly appreciate your listen. We got a Substack out there somewhere. Tom, you want to tell them about it?
Yes.
How they can get involved with our show?
Thanks for reminding me in the last 30 seconds when everyone turns off a podcast. But yes,
everybody's...
Go over to y2kshow.substack.com, become a premium subscriber there, which gets you everything we've ever done, the entire backlog, plus bonus episodes. And then you get access to some listener questions and so on and so forth as well. It also just helps support the show. So do that. And also, if you follow the show on social media, we have a Instagram and a TikTok and a YouTube. So if you're on any of those, please give a like, a follow, a subscribe, and then if you have time, just give a little quick review. It helps the algorithm put the show out there, get us more listeners, and just build a little community out of this thing. So please consider that. We're going to wrap up here for now because we're about to record another episode, a very special one with a guest. So stay tuned, everybody, and we'll see you. We'll
stay tuned.
We won't see
Zeus
you next
bless
week.
you.
Yes.
Stay true to the morals. Sorry, Tom, I'm going to steal about 10 minutes of their time now to talk about Zeus's morals. Just kidding. Yeah. See you later, folks.
I can't wait to. I'm so excited to get out of the weeds of the Odyssey after that movie dragged me so far into the field of Odysseus.
Jesus. Yeah. I mean, Zeus, get me out of here. Jesus Christ. Let's get going. See you.